Hello, my name's Kelly Pastor, and I am creating this video obviously in response to the Baldwin reading. In the reading, Schlesinger suggests that hostilities drive people apart because of their differences. I have to say that I agree and also disagree with this thought. The idea that the concept of place is constraining is pretty interesting to me. And I've found this to both be true and false. The town from which I hail is a very interesting place, to say the least. The history behind the town is there are a lot of coal mines in the area, so immigrants several hundred years ago, well, probably 150 years ago, flocked to the area because there were a lot of jobs. And once they got here, they really had no desire to leave. So there were different groups that settled in different parts of the town, and they kind of kept to themselves. They worked and worked and worked, saved money, and then retired. And never really left, never really went on vacations, never really went further than probably 100 miles out of the town. And they didn't really encourage their children to travel either. So there's this strange dynamic of people who just loved where they lived, which there is nothing wrong with, but they never, ever left. So some of the attitudes became pretty close-minded, which instead of the community feeling like everyone was included, some groups were very much excluded, and that could be based on race, could be based on religion, it could be based on the fact that they just didn't know anybody, they weren't related to anybody, so they weren't really accepting of others. It was their ideals were pretty close-minded and not accepting, and that would include people whose sexual orientation was different than their own, unfortunately. Now, I grew up in this town, and that kind of always bothered me, always. So when I was young, I just couldn't wait to get out of there. I felt that the vast majority of the views were negative instead of positive. So I would argue that with open borders, we become more accepting of others. And open borders in the text is described as intermingling with other groups, and the World Wide Web opens that up to other people, or us up to other people, other cultures, people that are different. I would go as far as to also say that the global marketplace also aids in doing that. I come from an HR background, so diversity in the workplace is so, so important for any organization that is trying to compete in the global marketplace. So I embrace the idea of difference. I love that. I think that some of the most successful companies, and there's literature to show that this is true, are diversified. While it's important to embrace your cultural differences, it's also very important to be open-minded to the views and the thoughts of others, because it's those differences that make us stronger as a whole. And a globalized workforce is a great example of the Stewart text, building bridges instead of walls. Unfortunately, the town where I grew up was very walled off. There were no bridges. But diversity and diversification can build a bridge. We can learn from others. I'm the kind of person where I want to know everything about everything. So I want to hear what other people have to say. I want to learn about their cultures. I want to know how we can use our differences to build a stronger organization. And I think that that's a great lesson to take forward. Embrace our differences so that as a world, everyone's different, but everyone has something to offer. And if we embrace them instead of wall those other people who are different from us off, we'll have a stronger world and a stronger workforce in general. So, while I agree that community gives you a sense of belonging and helps to shape your identity, I think that it's important for us to all embrace our differences as well. Well, thank you. I hope everyone enjoys this video, and good luck in the rest of the course.